Welcome back to West Texas View.
Welcome back to the West Texas View. I've been talking with Dr. Melinda Morris and answering some of your questions that you have called or emailed to me. And one of the questions that we want to take care of in this last time is about going to see the doctor. And some of the questions that evolved around, if I'm new in the community and coming to see you for the first time, exactly what do I bring? Do I call my doctor and have them talk to you, and so on? And then also any other thing that you think that patients need to know about coming to see a doctor. So to start with, what happens when a patient comes to see you for the first time?
Well, I think the most important thing to bring is bring in all your medications, all your supplements and vitamins that you're taking, so that we can review what you're taking. Just bring it in a sack. And some ladies, forget that they are taking certain supplements or vitamins, but those can have an impact as well. So, bring in all the medications that you're taking so we can document your dosages. So many times I see patients for the first time and they can't remember the medication that they're on. They don't know the dose they're on. They don't know why they were even put on the medications. That would definitely help to bring in the medications. And, before your office visit, start writing down on a piece of paper any symptoms, any problems that you're having, any questions that you want to answer, because so many times, once patients get to the office, they forget what they wanted to talk to the doctor about. So just start making a list and bring your list in so we can go over all your questions and issues.
And one of the things that you said was you forget how many doses you take. Well, I remember the first time I was asked how many milligrams of calcium I took, and I couldn't remember. And she said, that's really, really important. And so I was surprised that, first of all, I couldn't remember, and secondly, that it was that important. And also, I took something one time for a cold, and they said if you're taking a certain kind of vitamin, don't take it while you're taking this particular medicine. So I was surprised that vitamins would have anything to do with that.
This portion of News West 9 brought to you by Subway. You always eat fresh at Subway.
Is, the person that said, do I need to have my doctor call my old doctor called my new doctor, and usually is this the case that if there were x-rays about something that you'll contact that doctor directly, or what is the deal on that?
Well, if patients can actually bring in copies of records or copies of previous lab results or x-ray results, that's always very helpful. But generally at the end of the visit, what we'll have you do is sign a medical release form where you give us the name and address of your previous doctor, and by signing that medical release form, that gives their previous doctor permission to send us the medical records, because we have to have the patient's permission to receive any previous medical records.
That's part of the privacy.
Yeah, that's part of the privacy. So the patient would actually have to sign a form to do that. Now, you can sign that before your appointment, so the records are there at the time of your appointment. If they're not, then we'll receive the records afterwards.
Well, one of the things that I ran across the other day was that under the new health care bill, that there was going to be a part of it that encouraged you to have your online medical history, and that particularly shots you'd had, like when did you have your last tetanus shot and things like that. Is that something that you do, or is that something that the patient goes in and sets up her own or his own health care record?
Well, we're using electronic medical records now. So records are more accessible to each medical facility that needs to view those records, and we try to make them as complete as possible. So once you've provided us with the history and we've documented it in the electronic medical record, then that record is available for future use. But we've got to have the information to put in, so that's why it's so important to bring us all the information that you can, so we can document it in your record, and now it's a permanent part of your record. But without that history, we're not going to be able to provide the documentation.
This portion of News West 9
Well,
brought
I
to you
know
by
I
Subway.
just
You
got
always
through
eat fresh
going
at Subway.
abroad, and before I could go, because I was going to some countries like Egypt and Turkey, it was really important for me to get a tetanus shot, and I was advised to get a hepatitis A and B shot, which is a series of shots. And so I went to the health unit.
Yeah, the local health department.
Yeah, the health department. And so then I need to go to my doctor and say, record this in my health record.
That's right.
Okay, because I didn't do that.
So bring in any immunization records that you have that can be documented.
Okay.
You know, but the local health departments are fantastic, and they provide all the local vaccinations that you need, the immunizations that you need. They can give you the recommendations on how frequently they need to be done. With your tetanus, you need that every 10 years. You know, unless you had an injury or a dirty wound where you might need to have it more done, you know, immediately or within 5 years. So you can actually go online and find out what the immunization recommendations are. But the local health department can provide all the immunizations that you need.
Well, one of the other questions I had about immunizations was shingles shots. And is that something that is recommended, or is that just kind of a fad?
Well, I would. You need to talk to your personal physician about that. You know, if you have a history of shingles, that sort of thing, you need to discuss that and consider that as an option.
You mean a history in your family?
Or your personal history.
Oh, okay.
You know, shingles is actually the recurrence of the chickenpox vaccine. You know, and you know, everybody our age and older, we had chickenpox.
That's
you know, where the younger generation has actually been immunized. You know, and those viruses, you know, they can remain dormant in your system, and as it reoccurs as shingles. So you need to talk to your doctor during your annual exams and discuss that option with them.
Because that is another one of those preventive things that if the disease is really bad, so you don't want to get it.
And the flu vaccine is so important as well.
Hasn't this been interesting? We are so grateful for Dr. Melinda Morris taking the time to come and give us a little bit of education. And so we're going to ask her in the months ahead to come back again as her schedule permits. So if you've got any questions that you want to ask me to ask her when she comes back, well, just get in touch with me and we'll make sure that she gets those questions. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for having me. We'll see you next Sunday with another program.
Thanks for joining us for News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery. This has been a public affairs presentation of KWAB-TV and KWES-TV.